Welcome to another episode of the Speak Black Woman podcast. My name is Queen Tanjas, and I'm super excited about every podcast episode, but every now and then I get a little bit more flutter in my heart because at the end of the day, you know me, I look high, low, left, right, local, international to find Black women who are really using their voice in every aspect of their business. And October is officially Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I know that many of you are literally aware of that, but sometimes I think that if it doesn't affect us, directly, then we tend to maybe overlook it. So what I wanted to do is really kind of highlight and amplify the voice of who I say is a warrior, a champion, someone who's accomplished a lot and really beat the odds in so many words, but also using their voice to be an advocate and literally a person who is sharing and raising awareness. So some of you are brand new to the Speak Black Woman podcast. Welcome. Some of you have been rocking and rolling with me for over a year. We almost have 52 episodes, right? That we've been doing. Either way, you are family. And I'm excited that you are here. Some of you might be working out right now. Some of you might be listening to me in the car. Some of you might be binge watching a whole bunch of episodes or listening. Either way, you are definitely in the right place if you are a Black woman in business who is also passionate about making a profit from public speaking. So with that being said, I want to belabor this point because this woman has something to say, and it's my job to give her the microphone and the megaphone. So let me go ahead and bring on our special guest. Her name is Tanja Thompson. Some of you might be familiar with her, other of you who may not, and that's okay because after today, this is somebody that you definitely want to connect with. So Tanja is a resilience breast cancer coach, speaker, and author. And what she does is simple yet so profound. She gives breast cancer patients, survivors, and caregivers their hope back. Not only is she a survivor and a champion for spreading awareness, she's also a 2 times breast cancer survivor. She is retired from the military, as well as she's a TEDx curator and all around just awesomeness. So I'm excited, I'm eager, and I'm just grateful to have her on today's show. So Tanja, welcome. How you doing? How you feeling?
Hey, listen, girl, I'm ready for my theme music. Okay, where's my music?
You know what? I have to add music. Next time I'll add
music. Okay. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I tell you, if nothing else, we should be excited that we are here and that we are able to talk about this in public. Because as you know, for so long, we were muted. We did not talk about breast cancer in public. No way, no how. You don't know if your grandmama, your uncle, your grandmama, your second cousin removed, if anyone in your family had breast cancer, because nobody talked about it. And this is the opportunity to talk about it, even though it's just 1 month, but women are diagnosed every 29 seconds.
29 seconds. Now, I know that that's such a powerful statistic. You're an advocate and you're using your voice, but I want to go back for a second, right? Because I know that you give caregivers and survivors and patients, their hope back. What was it like for you? Did you lose your voice or did you jump into, oh no, I'm going to fight for every breast cancer survivor or champion? What was your journey? Were you always so vocal about this?
Absolutely, positively, without a shadow of a doubt, no. And let me tell you what that looked like. I first heard that I had breast cancer. The first thing, and don't let no one else tell you any differently, you think of it being a death sentence. I thought it was a death sentence when I first heard, Ms. Thompson, you have breast cancer. That shook me to my core. And I don't tell, because people see me now, right? They see me now. I'm out talking about breast cancer on podcasts in front of thousands and thousands of people talking about breast cancer. But that was not me in 2005. I was embarrassed. I felt as a Black woman that I did something wrong. I thought God was punishing me with breast cancer. Because we all done had some indiscretions in our life. We all done had. And we all have been raised with them grandmamas and those aunties that said, you know what, girl, it's going to come back and get you at some point or another. And that's what was ringing in my head. I didn't wear pink. my husband would ask me to participate. Oh, you're going to participate in this event, this breast cancer event. I said no. I hid in shame. I hid in shame with breast cancer for well over 5 years. And the reason 5 years is such a powerful number for me is because my breast cancer came back 5 years later. And one of the reasons I could hide is because I didn't have chemo, I didn't have radiation. And I know it's going to be a lot of women that's here listening to me. So ladies, just for full disclosure, I went from B's to C's with the first one. So I had a bilateral mastectomy. So that means they took everything. But no one knew. No one knew. They just, you don't really, maybe some people look, but it wasn't anything that was visual where you could see. I didn't lose my hair. I didn't have radiation burns. I didn't have that drawn look that so many of us have when we have breast cancer and when we're going through chemo, and we're going through treatment. I didn't have any of that. So it was easy to hide the veil. It was easy to hide the first time. Second time, I didn't have that. So I had to come out.
I appreciate, you being transparent and you being vulnerable, because, there might be someone who's listening right now who that may or may not be their story and they're not vocal about it and they're processing right now, which I know a lot of people have to do. So where did the shift happen? Where did you begin to become, that person that works with patients, survivors, and caregivers to really be their support system? When and how did that happen? Because you could have still just focused on Tanja, but the fact that what I love about your story is you begin to go outward and find others like you to be a support system for them. What made you decide to do that?
You know what it was, Quinn? It was the second diagnosis, because I couldn't hide any longer. And by this time, I had retired from the military, because the first diagnosis, I was active duty in the military. So, there's always a sense of shame or a sense of you got to be strong. You can't let people know. That's in people in the military, we don't go and get help. We don't go to counselors. We don't go to therapists. First of all, as Black folks, we don't do that anyways. But in the military, the sense is that it will devastate your career if they know that you are psychologically unfit to be able to continue in military service. So you have all of those components happening the first time. The second time, I was retired and I didn't have the pressure or the shame, especially once I realized that I was going to go through chemo. Once I realized I was going to go through chemo, that's when it all shifted, because at that point I said, I can't hide. I'm going to lose my hair. So what do you do? What do you do? And I just took, you have people that are passive aggressive, and then you have those that are just like bold out in your face. I became that bold in your face where then people start coming to me once they saw how I was handling it the second time. Once you put yourself out there, people would gravitate to you. And that's what happened. And then I started, that's what I was. I joined a breast cancer support group. I founded a nonprofit. I also am part of a health commission. I am a board member on the Cancer Advocacy Board here in Virginia. So I started really putting myself out there because I realized that, and then I'm an author as well. I realized that more and more people really needed to hear our voices, that people needed to see people like us us women of color, black, brown, purple, blue, whatever your hair color is, that you want your voice to be heard. And that's what really, really sparked for me to become an advocate, because I saw so many women, and to this day, women are still living in shame. Women are still living where they don't want anyone to know. And I have people coming to me asking me all the time, Tanja, such and such has cancer. What do I do? What do I say? How can I help? And just little small tidbits of information truly, truly makes a difference. And one of those things is, and this is just one, and that is, if you ask them for help, they will probably tell you nothing. But if you see that they need help, help them. Do they need someone to help them pick up groceries? Do they need someone to come and clean their house? Do they need someone to babysit their children? You can see that the need is there. That's where you go and you help. And if you're a friend, you'll do that unconditionally.
No, I love that. And that was such a powerful tip, because I think that people mean well and they ask, but you don't know mentally where that person is. But just be aware, if you notice a need, just don't wait for an invitation. Just do it, right? Because I think that sometimes people want you to say things. I absolutely love, that insight. And I love the fact that you are, visible and you're vocal about it. So I want to talk to, I know that you support like the caregivers and the patients and things like that. For the woman who has been recently diagnosed, what are maybe one or two things that you would tell her so she doesn't take this as a death sentence? Like, again, we are not God. We don't know what the end result is, but is there any like comforting or soothing words that you can give her, who maybe she just found out, or maybe she's been living with it and she's just like, this is tough for me. And I know that people want to support me, but they don't understand me because they didn't go through this. I want them to hear from someone who went through this. What would you say to her?
You know what, the first thing I would say, Quinn, and I would say the first time I didn't do this, take someone that you trust and you love with you to your appointments. Unconditionally, without a shadow of a doubt, you will only hear 10%. You need someone else to get the other 90% of what you've heard. That's especially good. Because during this process, you are going to see a number of doctors. You're going to see a number of specialists. You're going to hear terms that you have not heard before: HER2 positive, estrogen positive, different types of chemo treatment, number of radiation treatments. You need someone there to hear that part, because you're not going to hear it. The other piece is, write it down. If you have symptoms, if you're feeling something, write that stuff down so that when you go to your doctor's appointment, that you take that with you. That's number 2. Number 3, if nothing else, take time for yourself. And that means being unconditionally selfish. Selfish, ladies, selfish. And that could mean that you need to take time to just go for a walk. That could mean time that you just need to shut down, close the doors, pull down the blinds and says, I cannot do this right now. One of the things that I wish that I would allow individuals to help me. I wish I would allow the shutters to close, the doors to shut, so that I could work on me. I didn't allow myself to do that, and I spiraled as a result of that. One of the things you don't want to do is go down the rabbit hole, because once you go down to that rabbit hole of despair, coming out of it is twice and even 3 times as hard.
Wow. That's so good. I mean, when you talked about, you're right, because you're mentally and emotionally in a different space. So I think the tip that I really just wanted to reinforce, all of them were good, was taking somebody with you, right? Because you said, you only hear 10%, the other 90% is just like, wait, what? So I love that. And thank you for that. And I think that that's something that people might overlook, especially if they are battling a little bit of shame or guilt or uneasy or even denial. Like, let me just go ahead and see, what's what's going on. So that's awesome. So you mentioned that you are, you're a part of a couple of different organizations, right? So you founded a nonprofit. Tell me a little bit about your nonprofit. And for those people who are like, listen, I either have it or I want to be a support system. Tell me about that and how people could potentially get involved.
First of all, the nonprofit is called the Breast Cancer Move Foundation. And the reason it's called Breast Cancer Move, it's because we need to move from being this place of I'm a breast cancer person, but at the end of the day, I'm a person. And we need to move from that mindset of thinking that breast cancer defines us. Breast cancer doesn't define us. It's just something that we have. And then along with that, because my mind is one that kind of like, I wouldn't say artsy, but it's kind of like out there, right? So what I did, I actually purchased a beat-a-bug car and actually had it wrapped, and it is wrapped in breast cancer. So whenever I drive it around, people stop me, people call me and want to know more about what it is. And the website is I would say ingenious or genius, whatever term you want to use, and it's www.breastcancerbugsme.com. Like the Transformers, you had Bumblebee, who was the yellow car, right? And he was an old dirty car, and then he transformed to something beautiful. Well, that's what my Beetle Bug car is. It transformed into something beautiful. It was a white car, and now it's a beautiful pink and white car with breast cancer affirmations all across it. So that's the part that I truly love about it. How can you get involved? You can get involved by volunteering with different events that I have. You can also be a supporter in making donations. One of the things, as you mentioned earlier, Quinn, that I am a part of a number of different organizations, and all of these organizations need help. But where the true grit comes in is I'm a political activist. And what that means is that you think about, there are women out there who receive anywhere from, let's say, 20 to 40 radiation treatments. And think about this. Let's say you have a copay of $75. Let's say you have a copay of $50. Each and every treatment, you have to pay that copay. Let's say that you are a person who do not have the resources to pay that. Our organization help women in making their co-payments, but then also I'm an advocate, and I go and lobby our politicians to make changes in the Affordable Care Act, to make changes that there isn't where individuals are receiving duplicate or either out of network bills from doctors that they didn't even really know who they were, and with the assumption thinking that those doctors were in network. So those are the things that, as a cancer advocate or a breast cancer advocate, social advocate, whatever coin you want to put on it, it's an advocate and someone that advocates for those who cannot speak for themselves. So when you talk about voices, we all use our voices in so many different ways. And it doesn't always mean that we have to be in front of a camera. It doesn't always mean that we have to be in front of something. But in essence, you do, because people need to hear you. And when you come and speak from a point of authority, when you come and speak in a position that you know what you're talking about, people are more willing to listen to you because you're speaking from a place of truth and understanding as well.
No, that is really good. And that's so good on so many levels. I think that, I don't even know if I knew how involved you were. Like, I knew about the foundation, but I didn't know that you were also a political, activist to make sure, because you're right. My aunt, Kay, she passed away, not because of breast cancer, but she beat it twice. And then she ended up passing away after that, which was very crazy to our family because she beat this and ended up passing away after that. And I remember she was with an organization that literally just paid her rent because, she was, of course, going through all this. She couldn't work the way she used to work. So I just love it when there's organizations that it's not just the diagnosis, but everything that affects everything else, like a $75 copay. That's a lot if you're doing all these treatments. So having organizations or even being a voice, on Capitol Hill to say why we need this certain thing in place, it is super beneficial. And I just appreciate that. So I know that you're booked and busy this month. Tell me a little bit about your calendar. What you got going on? Like, I know people
we don't even want to talk about it. Listen. So as you mentioned earlier, right? TED Talk speaker, TED Talk creator. Why did someone from the Hampton, Virginia VA Medical Center call me up? Well, no, she actually emailed me. Listen, I just heard your TED Talk. It was so powerful. I want you to come and speak at our event.
Wow.
She said, and we have a grant. And you know what I said? I said, boo. I ain't say boo. I was a little bit more professional than
I
said, what your budget look like? And best believe, she booked me twice.
Wow.
Okay. Booked girlfriend twice. I had the first one was a couple weeks ago, and of course I rocked it. I'm speaking at 2 NAACP events.
Nice.
Next week, the Arlington and the Loudoun County. I'm talking about breast cancer. And then I did an event for one of the Omegas. So think about this. How often as a woman you have the opportunity to talk to 50 men about breast cancer.
Wow.
Because men don't realize they get breast cancer. Right after that event, Quinn, an African-American man came up to me. He said, Ms. Thompson, thank you so very much for that. He said, because I've just been diagnosed with breast cancer.
Wow.
He said, I have not been able to tell anybody. He said, I'm ashamed. I'm fearful. He said, how do you tell someone that you have breast cancer? Think about that.
Especially as a man.
Especially as a man. Yeah. So, I gave him some resources. And, first thing is follow up. A lot of times people get diagnoses, Quinn, they don't follow up. They're afraid to follow up with the diagnosis. And so talk about other events. So let's move from that piece, because that's kind of like brings you down, right? That kind of brings me down, right? So now I'm going to get a little bit hyped about my event at the end of this month. 30 October, I'm having the virtual breast cancer 22T. And it's going to, again, virtual. And for all of I have wonderful sponsors, wonderful sponsors. And my sponsors have committed that all of the breast cancer survivors or either patients will get free gifts. So this is one of them. I'm actually rocking one of the shirts, and there's a bracelet that they are giving. I think it's a bracelet, and then there is a thumb drive that individuals can put their information on, and I think it's a pen as well. So about 4 or 5, probably equating to about $50, probably even more. One package will equate to, for those individuals that attend the breast cancer 22 event, that are breast cancer survivors and or patients. Yeah, so I'm really, really excited about that.
No, that sounds amazing. That sounds absolutely amazing. And I got your website at the bottom of the screen,
okay.
breastcancerbugsme.com. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So thank you so much. I mean, every time I have these conversations, I learn something new about you, but I appreciate you, because I feel like when someone else is vocal about, spreading awareness and being an advocate, what you're doing either deliberately or unconsciously is unlocking the voice of somebody else. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, now that Tanja had the heart and the courage to say, this is where I am, she's given me permission. She's allowed me to come out of shame and hiding. So, I mean, I know what you do is amazing, but I just want to say, I appreciate what you do, because there is people out there who might not talk about it unless they see you, unless they experience you. So I'm loving this so far. If people are like, I want to support, I want to get connected, is breastcancerbugsme.com the best way to go? Or do you have another way for people to connect with you on social media?
I'm on Facebook. Facebook is Tanja Thompson Speaks, and on LinkedIn, Tanja Thompson as well.
Okay. And she's very active on LinkedIn, y'all. I met her on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like my
I'm posting every day this month on LinkedIn as well. Just a little tidbits, early detection. And the thing too, early detection saves life. Early detection saved my life twice. And being an advocate saved my life even double that. Because a lot of times in us as women, we probably face this where someone will discount what you're feeling and what you're saying and brush you off. Do not ever, ever, ever allow someone to do that. Because if I would allow someone to do that once, but not twice, my breast cancer would have spread and been a lot worse than what it was. Because I had HER2 positive, which was a breast cancer that just ravaged my body in 14 months. Because my baseline was in 2004. By 2005, it had spread out through both of my breasts. And if I would allow someone to discount my voice, to not listen to what I was saying. But the thing is, it's the way that I was saying it. They knew that I was serious and they took me seriously. And that's the only reason why my breast cancer did not go any further than what it did.
And that's real. I mean, as a Black woman, that is super real, because I remember reading a statistic. I don't remember what it was, but Black women die more, from childbirth than any other race. And I think it's exactly what you said. It's like we're in pain. It's almost like people don't believe us, or they don't feel like, we got to yell, scream, act the fool before we get somebody's attention. So I love that. Don't discount your voice. If you feel something, if it doesn't feel quite right, make sure you become your own advocate. I love that.
And that's my theme, actually, is if feel something, see something, say something. That's my theme for the breast cancer 22T on October the 30th, 2021. Okay.
Oh, perfect. And can people get the tickets at breastcancerbugsme.com if they want to go?
Yes. And the event is free, actually. Okay. It's a free event. And again, October the 30th. 2021 is 9:00 is the tea. So I'm actually going to be dressed in a tutu. So asking other women to wear their tutus, and the one that looks the best will definitely get a prize from one of our sponsors.
Awesome. Well, Miss Tanja Thompson, I want to thank you so much for everything that you're doing. I want to applaud you for being a voice, and more importantly, being an advocate, and just say, keep doing what you're doing. Your voice is needed and necessary. And I believe that because of you, more people will understand that this is not a death sentence, but there can be support groups and information that can really work with you to move through, this particular stage in your life. Yeah. So again, thank you so much. So hang around for just a second. I'm going to close this out and come right back to you. All right, y'all, as you can see, that was Miss Tanja Thompson. She is absolutely amazing. Her spirit is so good. So if you know someone, or if you're a caregiver or a supporter of someone who has, breast cancer, please check on them. Not in just October, but October and beyond. Like, this is just 1 month, y'all. People are living with this, their entire lives. And not just wait for an invitation to help or serve, but if you see something, like she said, go ahead and just take care of that. So again, breastcancerbugsme.com. If you're interested or you know someone, please share that information, because I really do think that it could save someone's life. All right, y'all. Until next time, go to speakblackwoman.com for more upcoming episodes. Get access to the Speak Black Woman book, as well as other Speak Black Woman merchandise. If you or someone you know is a Black woman in business who is passionate about making a profit from public speaking, make sure you spread the word about speakblackwoman.com. Again, my name is Quinn Conyers. It's been my honor and pleasure to serve you during this particular episode. Special thank you again to Miss Tanja Thompson for being my special guest. I'll talk to you guys soon.